Let's see how fast we go on tonight. Let's see. Are we up? We're up there. Are we up? Where are we? Checking like tons of feeds right now. There we are. Okay. We're up there. We're up on Facebook. We are up on the website. Yes. Boom. We are up. Hello, Misty. Hello, Rhonda. Andrew from Ann Arbor. Rochester, New York in the house. Lexington, Washington. John always here. Let's see. I'm on the book. That's funny. New Zealand. Lisa, hello from New Zealand. And the website is streaming. Yes. Awesome. Hello, Buffalo Sue. I saw Melbourne, Australia. Lisa from Port Huron, Michigan. Rochester, Christine. A lot of Rochester. Indiana, Laura. Steve in Sydney. Tremendous. Awesome. Denver, Renee. Welcome, Denver. Bob in Missouri City, Texas. Hey, Jennifer. Right back at you. Jill in Nebraska. Ken in South Carolina. Orlando, Michelle. Welcome. Moon Township, Pennsylvania, Jacqueline. Tina. Hello, Tina. Michael J. Price in Omaha. Michael, I feel like I haven't seen you in forever because I know you're busy. I'm busy. Welcome back. Charlie from Texas. Michelle's Crafts and More. If you're in North Carolina, go to Michelle's Crafts and More. Apparently, she's got a craft store. Sarah and Brett from Ohio. Send help. Jennifer from New Jersey. Scotty from Ithaca. I would say send out an SOS out there if you're from a crazy state, but I have a feeling a lot of my feed might be SOSs, so don't do that. Hola, Sophie from Chicago. Love right back to you, Michael. Alana from Oregon. Hello. Oh, my wife must be on. Trumansburg, Susan. Trumansburg is a small little town, but wonderful people. I've been there. Let's see. Massachusetts, Janine. Hello. Owego. Melissa from Owego, New York. Is that correct? I know Owego, New York very well, actually. I've been there many, many times. Maitland, Mike. Good to see you. Dr. Steve Burleson, Illinois. Dr. Steve, how you doing, my brother? Good to see you. I hope you're staying safe up there in Crazy Town. Tamara, Arizona. She's a new patient. Fantastic. Aaron from Green Bay, Wisconsin. The Packer Nation, even though we aren't watching the NFL anymore. Susan, Wisconsin. Hello. Kentucky, Tracy. General Flynn, big tweet just now. Oh, Michelle, they let you back on Twitter. That's so special. Sorry, I know you got booted. You're back on. I'm happy for you. Oh, he did tweet in the last hour. Let me see. The president. Oh, interesting. So yeah, he tweeted 8 minutes ago. Yeah, I'm actually gonna go over that. That's interesting. I'm going to go over that letter tonight. Okay. The stream is on the website, guys. If you have a problem with that, it's either your phone or your computer or your internet or something like that, because I'm streaming. It's up. It's good to go. Okay. Aaron from Indiana. I would first like to start with something super special. I want to start with this because we have talked. First of all, Dr. Jason Dean, Revolution Network, your source for health, freedom, and knowledge. And I would like to start with something super important. I would like to start with the very, very important topic of communication. And we are in a world now where there's a lot of this, there's a lot of dissension, there's a lot of division, etc. and I just want to bring up an important video here. It's only about 30 seconds. 30 seconds. Hi Sylvia. It's only 30 seconds long. But this really goes into the art of communication with our fellow man. And this is something I wanted to show you the other night, and it wasn't working really well. But I think this is super important. And this is also going to help us tremendously with speaking with someone who is not of the same viewpoint as us, okay? So some days we're going to come across a Karen who's all about masks. Some days we're going to come across someone who doesn't agree with us on politics. Sometimes you're going to come across a liberal maybe, or someone who's a Democrat or a communist or even an atheist or anarchist. So I want to show you this because this really is going to show you how I want you to work with them and how I want you to communicate back with them. So 30-second clip, the importance of communication with someone you may not see eye to eye with or agree with. So let me roll the footage.
¿Qué pasa en su corral? Zapatero, ¿qué opina usted del gobierno de Zapatero? Pues igual que yo. ¿Y qué opina usted? ¿Qué opina usted? ¿Qué opina usted del gobierno canario? ¿Y de los ayuntamientos de la isla? Vamos a ver, ¿qué es lo que pasa con los alcaldes? ¿Qué es lo que pasa con los alcaldes? ¿Qué está pasando con los alcaldes? ¿Qué está pasando con el... ¿Qué pasa con el presidente del gobierno? ¿Qué pasa en su...
Oh, I thought you should see that. And I thought that was very important for everyone to see and to understand how important it is. Okay, how important it is when someone doesn't agree with you. Okay, so clearly I set you up for that because you're expecting 33 seconds of education and knowledge and how to communicate with somebody. But guess what? Sometimes they don't communicate well. So, maybe I'll drop that link in. It was a Twitter post. It was tremendous. It makes me laugh every time I see it. Anyway, let's dive in. Oh, I got some SOSs coming from northern Minnesota. Oh, that's fantastic. I still can't get over it because and I don't even know what the animal is. Is that like, it's not, is this, I'm assuming it's some sort of a goat or from the goat type of family, but it is clearly not a happy person. And it reminds me of some very hardcore liberals. So here we go. Let's rock and roll. By the way, if you hadn't seen gold is moving right now. So when I first jumped on the show tonight, gold had gone up. Well, first of all, gold had gone up to $2,030. If you watched today's episode with Fred Deshefsky, we talked about gold and silver today. And quite interestingly, before I came on, it was at 2030, 2040. It's now, I'm going to show you. How's that? Let me show you gold and silver. Okay, right now we are at, this is one of the random websites I look at, $2,042.99. Now it's going up and down a little bit, but today it's up almost $5, which is 0.24%. We are at $2,042.96, which is going up fast. And silver, when I first checked, was down. Silver is actually now up. So this is a good website to go to, gold price, and pretty impressive actually. So silver continue going up and gold is continuing to go up. I'll keep an eye on that throughout the show just because I'm actually curious where it goes. Buy in if you can, because it's gonna pop. We are going back north of. We're going to go back over how fast before 2100 is the question. That's a good question, okay? I will tell you, if you listen to the conversation, if you're struggling with the finance question, again, I can't tell you what to do finance wise. I don't have any certification in anything like that. I can only tell you what I would do. Okay, so let me do this best for you. I invest in gold and silver. I did more. All right. If you are a person out there who thinks that you can't and you can't afford it, that's not true. You have people who spend a lot. You have people who spend a little. I mean, it really doesn't matter that how much you're spending. It's an investment. Buy it over a period of time, little by little, or big chunks by big chunks. It doesn't really matter. The point is, you have it. And I will tell you, it's the best investment you can ever make because it's the actual only physical money. I've had several shows now with Fred Deshefsky from US Coin Capital. That is uscoincapital.com. You can go and capital is spelled CAPITOL, like the United States Capitol. Go there. He educates you. He educates you on how the market actually works. He educates you on, and by the way, just so you know, why do I push Fred? Let me give you the background on why I push Fred because, and I'll tell you, hey, there's places I earn money online. There's places I can make money. It's great, and I know how to do that. I will tell you, I don't make money on what Fred does with you guys. Okay, I literally, let me tell you a little backstory. And I wasn't planning on selling this, but I'll tell you because I think it's important. Is a backstory on this. So I listened to a podcast called OneRadioNetwork.com. Actually, if you go to OneRadioNetwork.com, the gentleman's name is Patrick Timpone, and great episode. And he goes all over the place. It's everything from health, conspiracy. It's kind of similar to what I do, but he's more, he does it every day at a certain time in the morning. He's in Texas. Great guy. I've talked to him before. He does some call-in stuff. Maybe we'll have that someday as well. And he's just there. He's very different. He doesn't broadcast out like I do. He has he has some followers, but he doesn't broadcast at the level I love broadcasting out to the globe. Okay. But anyway, I stumbled upon him because I learned about gold and silver years ago. Okay. Years ago. And I'm going to put the website in here right now for you guys because I know you're asking for it. Let me put his website in and I'm going to explain to you why I would go there. Give me a second. I wasn't planning on doing this. Okay, US Coin Capital. It's in there. Okay, good. So what happened was I actually learned about them. I've been on that radio show for a while. I listened for the first time to a gentleman named Andrew Goss, who I posted about a long time ago. And Andrew Goss was a currency historian, a constitutional historian, but also a JFK historian. And he was like, I'm similar to him in the fact that he knows how the world works. He knew how he's passed away. He knew how the world works, and he would tell you exactly how the monetary system is going to work. Now, what happened was I listened to him, but every once in a while he wasn't on the show. He was on the show every single week doing money for 2 hours. Gold and silver and money and financial history for 2 hours. And then he'd be off, and then this Fred guy would come on, and Fred was his partner. They're in business together in their coin shop, I believe, in Jersey at the time, in South Carolina maybe. And so I would listen, and I literally just continued listening every single week for 2 hours, and I gained knowledge on money, the financial system, the history of money, etc. And that's when I started actually getting silver coins at that point. And so then, fast forward, Andrew passed away suddenly. Fred went into his own thing. But the reason why I have Fred on the show now, and the reason why I listen to Andrew, and the reason why I buy from them, because I will be honest with you, there is a coin shop, a silver and coin dealer a quarter mile from my office. I literally could drive down there, pick it up, and leave and get my stuff. I don't, because they're not educators, right? Fred and Andrew, when he was alive, they simply would educate to you for an hour or two on the reason why. And then if you wanted to buy something, they never sold hard on what you wanted to get. They would never say, you need this. No. What is your budget? Where are you at? How can we best fit you into something that will take care of you, but also not put you in a poorhouse so that you're sitting on this coin and waiting forever, but you're not, surviving every day. That's why I have Fred on, because that's how good he is. He educates. Today, he educated for 45 minutes. So I'm going to promote his stuff. I don't make money on it. I do it because I believe that you need to be prepared financially. I do it because the Constitution, whether it's the one now or our one we should have in place, says gold and silver are the currency of the United States of America. It is that simple. No matter what happens, they are the currency. Okay? For example, when you buy, quote unquote, a coin, right? That could have cost $20. And today, an ounce is worth $2,043. You can see the destruction of the Federal Reserve note going down in value. And silver today, a silver coin, $27.01 right now. And gold is over $5 in growth today, 0.28%. There you go. All right. So that's why I wanted you to know about that. I find it very important to be on that. Now, let's jump into a letter. I'm going to read this letter to you. This is actually exclusively from General Flynn. I'm not going to show you. I'm just going to read it out to you. I hope you don't mind. Okay. We are witnessing a vicious assault by enemies of all that is good, and our president is having to act in ways unprecedented in decades, maybe centuries. The biblical nature of good versus evil cannot be discounted as we examine what is happening on the streets of America. It's Marxism in the form of Antifa and Black Lives Matter movement versus our very capable and very underappreciated law enforcement professionals, the vast majority of whom are fighting to provide us safe and secure homes, streets, and communities. When the destiny of the United States is at stake, and it is, the very future of the entire world is threatened. As Christians, shouldn't we act? We recognize that divine providence is the ultimate judge of our destiny. Achieving our destiny as a freedom-loving nation, providence compels us to do our part in our communities. It encourages us in this battle against the forces of evil to face our fears head on. No enemy on earth is stronger than the united forces of God-fearing, freedom-loving people. We can no longer pretend that these dark forces are going to go away by mere prayer alone. That's a powerful statement. Let me read that again. We can no longer pretend that these dark forces are going to go away by mere prayer alone. Prayers matter, but action is required. This action is needed at the local, state, and federal levels. Action is also required in the economic, media, clerical, and ecclesiastical realms. Decide how you can act within your abilities. Stand up and state your beliefs. Be proud of who you are and what you stand for. And face head-on those community leaders who are willing to allow dark forces to go beyond peaceful protests and destroy and violate your safety and security. Churches and houses of worship must return to normal. We invite everyone of goodwill to not shirk their responsibilities and instead act in a fraternal fashion. If for no other reason or with no other ability, act in a spirit of charity. We cannot disrespect or disregard natural law along with our own religious liberties and freedoms. Wow, that's an important line. Let me repeat that one. We cannot disrespect or disregard natural law along with our own religious liberties and freedoms. I am witnessing elderly people lose their connection to all that is good in their lives. Connections to their faith, their families, and their individual freedoms, especially the simple act of attending church, something they've been doing for decades. Let us not be intimidated or fear those who cry out that we are in the minority. We are not. Good is always more powerful and will prevail over evil. However, the evil will succeed for a time when good people are divided from each other and their personal lives. Children away from their teachers, preachers away from their congregations, customers from their local businesses. America will never give in to evil. Americans work together to solve problems. Let me repeat that one. America will never give in to evil. Americans work together to solve problems. We do not and should not ever allow anarchy and the evil forces behind it to operate on any street in our nation. Hallelujah on that. No one should have to fear for their very life because some dark, disturbed force is challenged by the very essence of what America stands for. We are one nation under God, and it is our individual liberties that make us strong, not liberties given to our government. Our government has no liberty unless and until we, the people, say so. God bless America, and let's stand by everything that was good and is good in our lives, in our communities, and in our country. Otherwise, America as the true North Star for humanity will cease to exist as we know it. Let me show you this picture. Sorry. Let me show you the article. Man. Okay, this is the article. Do you see that? That was from General Flynn. This is my letter to America. Do you realize how huge that letter is? Absolutely amazing. Really is. I mean, does he not hit on every single thing that he could possibly hit on? And not only that, it actually means he is behind. I'm telling you, he's behind the whole thing. When he says stuff like that, you know he is supporting the president. There's no way around it, right? No way around it. Therefore, watch General Flynn. I will tell you that. Now, I want to dive into tonight. So last night was false flags, but it wasn't just false flags. It was a lot of more challenging stuff to watch. Let's just say that. So tonight, I want to talk about some things that are maybe a little easier. Not easier, but let's go with more educationally, okay? And I'm going to bypass some stuff here tonight that I was going to post and I'm going to show, but there's a couple things I want to head into that'll take my time, so I'll move some of that stuff to tomorrow. That's the beautiful part of writing your own show, is you can take it really fast, and if something pops in your head, you can go with it, and you can move that stuff to the next day, because I have some other stuff that I want to go over that's much more important. First of all, as many of you know, I'm originally from New York, and I've probably told this story a couple times, okay, is that New York is beautiful, right? Now, I love New York City as well. I think New York City is beautiful because I like cities. But upstate New York is a gorgeous piece of land, let me tell you. Lakes, ponds, rivers, creeks, you name it. Countryside, grass, it's just gorgeous, right? It actually looks very similar to places like Michigan. Okay. That's where I'm from. However, and I actually said that someday I would love to have a second home in New York, not to live at all the time, but just kind of like a summer home to go up for maybe a month or a couple weeks at a time, whatever it is, or weekends. And then I absolutely went against that and said, there's no way I'm doing that. Why? Because it's insane. That's why. Because it's financially insane. It's completely crazy. what you will pay to live up there. I'm sorry. Like, I love all of you that live in New York. I don't finance, and it's not even the day-to-day dollars that you spend. It's not going to the grocery store. It's not getting coffee. It's not going somewhere to do something. It's the behind the scenes taxes. It's the property taxes. It's the sales taxes. It's the junk taxes, right? Now, another place like that is California. I visited California many times. It's gorgeous, just like New York, but they're insane. So I don't know if you knew this. I listen to Joe Rogan podcast off and on. I haven't listened to it in a while just because I've been so busy with other stuff. But sometimes he has some good guests on. I don't love Joe Rogan necessarily. I have a love-hate with him. But he has actually decided, I think a couple months ago, to leave California. He didn't say when, right? And then he was on, I guess, yesterday or today. And he said he's actually leaving like this week or next week, I think it is, or this month, something like that. Fast, okay? Fast. He is moving to Texas. He is okay. So let me give you some reality, because I have told people you need to get the hell out of places that are not listening to you. Either protest and make a change, or start making your decisions on what you're going to do, where you're going to go, what it's going to be like. Because what you're putting up in these states is insane. Why do I live in Florida? Well, a couple reasons. One, I like heat. I come from a very cold temperature that I don't like cold. The cold is not, I like some cool downs, but I don't love snow anymore. I'd rather have humidity and hurricanes than snow. But on top of that, what I really love is I love no state income tax. I love low sales taxes. I love not getting screwed on property taxes. That's what I love. I like actually having more money, more Federal Reserve notes in my hand so that I can buy more of these little coins in silver and gold, as well as many other things. So Joe Rogan, who just signed a licensing deal for $100 million plus with Spotify on his show, who has a entire studio in California that he literally just put there within the last, I think, year or so. And he has decided he is done and moving. He's going to leave his studio there for a while, but he's moving everything, including his show, to Texas. Now, on top of that, he is also leaving his profession. Now, he's going to be a comedian, obviously. He's still going to be a comedian. But if you ever listen to Joe Rogan, Joe loves comedy. And he actually loves comedy more than his other stuff. To the point where he still did stand-up at the Comedy Store in LA like 3 nights a week, even while doing his podcast and his other stuff. He is leaving his family of comedy because he explained he will not spend 54% of his hard-earned money on taxes. Do you understand the insanity of making 100% of your dollars, working your butt off, and then having 54% wiped away? And you're down to 46% to survive. Now, some of you are going to say, well, it's Joe Rogan. He makes hundreds of millions of dollars. You're right, he does. You know what? It sucks even more. Trust me. When you make more money, it sucks even more when you get hit with that. The dude makes hundreds of millions. So say he made $100 million last year. He made more than that, but just say he made, well, no, maybe he didn't make it. He made, say he wins his 100 million. He doesn't make 100 million a year. Say he has $100 million, his Spotify deal, right? They would be taking upwards of 50% of that money out of his pocket. Now, if you're one of those people, I'm going to tell you right now, actually, if you're one of those people out there, and if you're on this feed, I'm going to say something that's going to get me in a lot of trouble probably. I'm going to say something that might lose me some followers right now, but it's okay. I don't care. If you're one of those people that says, oh, well, he has enough, so it's okay if he gets taxed because he can still live and he's still a millionaire. That's the biggest load of BS programming from parental and everything else growing up that you'll ever hear. If you think someone should have money taken away from you and it's okay because you still make a lot, even though it's corrupt and it's criminal to do so, that means you have a very poor viewpoint on money and how to earn money. Joe Rogan, even sometimes things I don't love him, right? And he is more liberal. I don't love every viewpoint he has. Trust me. But guess what? The dude busts his butt. Dude is doing comedy several nights a week, live. He goes on the road and does comedy. He's in television. He works for the UFC. On top of that, he does the biggest podcast on the face of the planet upwards of a few times a week at a couple hours a time. That's called busting your ass and getting things done. That dude deserves the money he makes. I don't care if he makes 10 million or he makes 10 billion. He deserves the money he makes. Okay? People need to get over their money programming. I have dropped audiobooks and Kindle stuff and everything. I dropped the books on my social media feed that I tell you to go look up and go read. Millionaire Mindset. Big one, huge one. The War of Heart. Huge one. You need to start reading on how to reverse that mindset of that, okay? 54% of his money taken away from him because of where he lives. Because guess what? California is bankrupt. And so is New York. And so is every other stupid liberal state out there who has stupid people running their state. Completely insane. This is why I left those states. My parents just left one of those states. So, when I get people who ask me, what do? I can't leave. I can't leave the school system. I can't leave work. I can't leave this. I can't leave that. I have a house here. What am I going to do? Let me tell you, you have to look at your home like a business. Right? Whether you have a business, a real business or not, your home is a business. My wife and I run our house like a business. There is revenue in, there is revenue out, there are rules, there are laws, things get taken care of, there is planning for the future, there is short-term enjoyment and having fun and entertainment and budgeting and everything else. My wife's a genius at it. And it's so interesting because the more you plan, the more you strategize, the more you take care of your stuff, the bigger and faster it grows into more revenue, more money, more everything else, more resources. So, for those out there who say, well, I can't leave any of that stuff, you have made a decision and a choice not to do that. How many vaccines do they have to mandate that your kid gets before you will say enough is enough and my family takes precedence over the stupid state that I live in, the house that I have to sell, the job that I have that pays me good, etc. At some point, you have to decide that your family comes before everything else. If you have a great job, great. Then why don't you negotiate a way to work from a distance or something like that? It's going on all over the nation right now. Or my kids will miss their friends. Oh well, they'll make new friends. How long will you continue to decide to live under an oppressive regime to save some discomfort of my kids are upset because they're moving from their friends, or we're gonna lose some money because my house, we won't sell it for what we needed to sell, or I might lose that good job that I've had, or even that crappy job that I have because I'm afraid to leave it, right? If you're living in a state that is taxing you to death and then mandating that you do things that are completely insane, that is your choice to be doing so. You have decided that you can't leave there. Oh, well, my parents live here, like my grandparents. I'm going to be really mean right now. Those are choices. You made that choice, right? You could hitch grandma and grandpa up as well, right to the trailer, and throw them in and say, let's go, we're moving. You can like live in the house for a little bit until we find you something different, but we're getting the hell out of this joint. If you live in one of those states and you continue to live in one of those states without doing something about it, you're actually allowing yourself to be oppressed. You're allowing yourself to not have choices in life. And again, you can say it all day long. My job is great, the school is great, or my kids won't like leaving their friends, or what. You can say it all. Those are all technically excuses or justifications. Because let me tell you, when you move to a state where they actually have better rules and laws and they actually have more freedom, it's amazing how the upset of that house and the upset of maybe parents, or the upset of we left the school system and my kids were upset they don't have their friends. It's amazing how fast that stuff leaves when you're typically in a better climate and when you're typically have more money in the bank, you can do more stuff, and you have a nicer home because you can afford more home because they're not taxing you to death. I will tell you right now, I'm not going to tell you what my property taxes are here, but in New York and in New York, I will tell you, in New York, your property taxes for the same size house as mine, you are 5 times my amount that I pay. You pay 5 times the amount I pay in the state of New York for your property taxes. It's in California, I've heard it's upward of like 7 times the amount, something like that. You know, you can have a $250,000 house down here in Florida or Texas or places like that. That same house in California goes for like $1.2 million, and no one can afford it. I actually had a friend who, his daughter actually worked for Microsoft. This is a couple years ago. So she was in the San Jose area, I believe that's where it was. And she had a condo. Now get this. She made $250,000 a year plus bonuses. So she did well. She was in sales. She made $250,000 a year plus bonuses. And where she had to live to have that job, her salary just got her by with her expenses in her home. And she wasn't even in a house. She was in a condo. And the only way for her to live comfortably was she had to have her bonuses come in. $250,000 to get by. And her bonuses were what were actually made her allowed to actually live life. That's completely insane. Absolutely, completely insane. Let me show you a couple articles here based on what I just talked about, which is leaving your damn state if it's oppressive. So look at that. Now, this is not necessarily a recent article. This says 700,000 people left California in 2018 and over 100,000 moved to the Pacific Northwest. Now, that's just one. But I just looked up another one. And now California has a net loss of over 100,000 people a month. Okay? 100,000 people a month. Here's another one. New York. New Yorkers are packing up and they're leaving. Now, this one's Manhattan, but it's happening everywhere. This one is actually in regards to coronavirus. They're leaving. They're peacing out. They're getting out. High costs, small living spaces, density, and reliance on public transport make it extra hard to deal with social distancing and staying home. But guess what they're also finding? They're finding they're getting screwed on pricing. Okay? I wanted to tell you about those because those are very fascinating. Now, on top of that, we have healthcare. Healthcare, you also get screwed on healthcare prices, which is phenomenal, and it's insane, and it's stupid, and everything is getting priced way above what it should be because they want you sick. Welcome to the New World Order. How about that? Okay? Now, I want to talk to you about this because this is the other interesting part. So, I work in the world of natural healthcare. If you didn't know that already, most of you do. And I'm not against medication. I'm not anti-medication at all. It actually helps save many people in my family's lives, so I appreciate it very much. But I do not believe I believe in the emergency medicine. I believe, obviously, in natural healthcare because that's where I am. I do not believe, or I believe, but I do not like or agree with this middle part, which is where we had a pill, we had a pill, we had a pill, or I should say, we had a medicine, we had a medicine, we had a medicine, we had a medicine. And next thing you know, you're on 10 medications or more for things you don't even know you have, and you're spending a crap load of money to stay sick and be sick. That's that middle area, right? Emergency medicine, helpful. Natural health, healthcare. Middle ground, sick care. Middle ground is your lifestyle's killing you because you're eating Burger King, McDonald's, and God knows what else. And that's killing you. And the majority of your problems are 98% lifestyle related and not genetic at all. This little area in here literally is going to destroy your body and destroy your life, and is the number one reason for bankruptcy in America. Now, what will help with that? Yes, lowering prescription costs. That does help with that, especially older people, because obviously it takes a financial burden off of them. But what also is going to happen, they're going to find out that they're sick and tired of being sick. People, let me tell you about health consciousness. Health consciousness is skyrocketing. And it's probably one of my favorite things that I have watched is healthcare consciousness skyrocketing. What does that mean? It means people are starting to ask questions. People are wondering why they're on 10 medications or 5 medications. I've had people come into my office with 2 pages, 8.5 by 11, 2 pages of medication from top to bottom. Can you give me any reason why that could happen? Why any human being should be on 2 pages of medications? Insane. I've had 20-year-old kids, college students, on 3/4 of a page of medications. This is the problem. Here we go. You were lied to. You were lied to a long time ago. And I'm going to show you some very interesting stuff here. You were lied to a long time ago. See, now, I'm going to help everyone out here. I'm a believer that there's a God of some kind, creator. Now, I also believe that there's a universal energy, cosmos. Now, God and universe could be one and the same. I don't necessarily know. Don't care. Doesn't matter. The point is, that's how I look at it. Now, our bodies were put here. Our souls were put here by something. They didn't just magically arrive, right? Maybe they did. Quantum physics. Who knows? Anyway, that's not the point. The point is, how many of you out there How many of you out there right now believe that you, your friends, your family, your kids were put here on this planet to be sick? Now, you're going to get some atheists and you're going to get some people who are not necessarily into that world. And that's fine. I get it. Who think that medicine's the way to go and we're just animals and we don't have a soul or whatever. Whatever. I don't care. I'm not preaching to them. Okay. How many of you believe that you were put here on this earth to get up, work all day long, bust your butt, go home, eat crappy food, watch television, go to bed, get up, do it all over again, get up, do it all over again, get up, do it all over again, and then along the way, have a problem here, have a problem there, here's a medication, there's a medication, next thing you know, you're in a wheelchair by 70, or you have 5 comorbidities because you have diabetes, heart disease, kidney problems, and a fatty liver. And then all of a sudden, okay, well, we don't know what to do, so more medication, and then dead. So how many believe that God, universe, whatever you want to call it, put you here to go through this cycle over and over and over and over again just to get sick and die? Anybody? Anybody believe that? Because that might be one of the dumbest things that I've ever heard. But guess what? America bought into it. You bought into it. Now, some of you are waking up. Some of you have not woken up. So some of you are waking up. And I'm going to tell you, keep on your journey of health consciousness and waking up. You're doing the right thing. Try new things. Ask for help. I'll help you. Others will help you. You're on the right track. For those out there who have not woke up, guess what? They're intentionally keeping you sick. There's always an answer. Hey, might you still have to be on like one medication? Sure. I'm not saying that's not possible. Totally get it. However, if you believe in what I just said, which is that you're created, put here just to get sick and die, and that's how God works. They sold you a system and you bought into it because instead of rising in consciousness, you decided to eat the crappy food and go down in consciousness. And then they sold you $1,000+ a month healthcare, which isn't healthcare at all. More medications, more medications, more medications, crappy food, off to the graveyard. That's literally what they did. Welcome to the New World Order. That's what they did. And that is not life. That is not living. People are waking up. We as a nation consume 80% of the entire planet's opioids and pain medications. Completely insane. We as a nation consume over 10 billion orange plastic bottles of medication every single month. Those little prescription bottles, America buys 10 billion of those a month. So wait, they sell you a toxic medication to destroy your body just to handle a symptom, and then that bottle gets thrown away in the trash, which then ends up in a landfill or an ocean and kills more living things. That's what they're doing. Do you know how you fix this? Consciousness. Health consciousness. This is what I do every single day. Is, you know what? And I made mistakes. I made a giant mistake. I started here in my health consciousness right here, and I went way up here. right? So I started down here where, oh my gosh, my thyroid's not doing well. My heart's not very happy. I'm anxious. I'm depressed. I'm blah, blah, blah. I know nothing about healthcare. And then I get into nutrition. And I'm down here where I learned that statins are really bad for you. And I learned that psychiatric drugs are really bad for you. And I learned all these things down here. I learned that fat was actually good for you. And I learned that sugar was really bad for you, even though they lied. Right? I started way over here. But then what happened was I gained knowledge. And I slowly started going up to here. And now I'm up here, where I know how all these herbs and all these nutrients and all these things work in the body. And now I'm studying the different diets, and there's plant-based, and there's keto, and there's carnivore. And I found out, oh, parasites are in most of the body, and if you can get rid of those, a lot of other things start taking care of themselves. And now I have people literally dropping parasites in after a week on their supplements or 2 days on their supplements, and they already feel better. Or another guy losing like 15 pounds in 2 weeks by kicking the energy drinks, by kicking the sugar, by kicking the junk, and has to buy new clothes because he lost all this weight and actually has more energy. So I was way up here now. The problem is, guess what I did? I forgot that everyone's still back down here where they still think statins are good for them. They still think psych drugs are okay and they're going to be fine and they'll take all the bad feelings away and they won't have any more depression or anxiety or panic attacks. Or that sugar is bad for you. There's still people out there that believe that sugar is okay and you can continue to pound carbs every single day and everything will be okay. There's still people that believe that cholesterol over 200 is bad, and it's not. So I even have to check myself sometimes and realize not everyone is at the same level of consciousness that I've gotten to. And so I have to come back down here. Not because it's a bad place, but I have to come back down here and say, okay, let me educate you. I am stunned. I am stunned on a weekly basis. How many people are still bought into that cholesterol is bad for you and that fat is not good to eat? I'm stunned. I'm stunned how many people think that high blood pressure is supposed to be there and they're just going to have to handle it and treat it with medications. I'm stunned. But then I remember, you have the mainstream media out there and people are watching the news and they're watching everything else and they're getting programmed on a daily basis. And you don't have to be. I have shown you in previous shows behind here all these books. There are books in here on how people cured their own cancer using only nutrition. There are people up here who've cured, I didn't do it, don't get me in trouble. There are people up here that cured their rheumatoid arthritis. They have cured their diabetes. I personally have helped people ruin their diabetic studies. I had a 75-year-old woman who came to me, type 2 diabetes, and within 6 months or 9 months, I think it was, they kicked her out of her study because all I did was get her to eat correctly, give her the proper supplementation, and she got kicked out of her study because her blood sugars were so good that they actually said that her diabetes was gone and she never took drugs to do it. We are currently going through a political consciousness change, a planetary consciousness change. You also have to go through a health consciousness change. Because when you find out how they have made you sick, you will be so pissed off. And actually, let me show you a couple things before I head out tonight. I want to show you some stuff that they've done to you. Let me go to this, okay? Now, I did a little Googling, all right? I still use some Google for certain things. Some DuckDuckGo doesn't give me what I need sometimes. I just typed in medicine derived from herbs. So how many people know how medications are made? So I just simply typed in medicines derived from herbs because I know how medicines are made. And the first link says herbal medicine right here. Herbal medicine. You see the highlighted with my little hand over it, right? Now, this is a journal article from the NIH. Let me click on it. Now, let me first of all, before we do this, let me read the little thing below. The use of plants for healing purposes predates recorded history and forms the origin of much of modern medicine. Many conventional drugs originate from ... What they're going to say is originate from herbs. Now, let me go to this link and see what happens. Oh, so it actually came up this time. Before, it got deleted. And COVID is right at the top. They actually deleted this earlier today. It popped back up. There must have been a problem with the website. Look at this. Many of the pharmaceuticals currently available to physicians have a long history of use as herbal remedies, including Artemisin. Do you know what should I go over this again? Do you know what Artemisin does? Artemisin actually is one of the bases of the medication we're not allowed to talk about. Okay? We're not allowed to talk about that medication that is derived from herbs. Did you know herbs kill malaria? Herbs kill parasites. Herbs kill viruses and bacteria and funguses and yeasts and you name it. That's right. Now, I want to show you something else. From folk medicine to pharma, natural remedies that became medications. Let me just show you a couple of these, and I'm going to read them out to you because you think medicine has been the savior because they told you modern medicine made us extend lives. It actually did the opposite. It actually declined lives and declined ages. I want to show you a few slides that I find tremendous. Ready? Here we go. I'm going to bring this a little bit bigger because this is fantastic. I actually love this. Let me bring it down a little bit more so you can see. Okay. From folk to pharma, natural remedies that became medications. Pharmaceutical origins. Up to 25% of the world's most commonly, it's actually higher than that, commonly used pharmaceuticals were originally derived from plants. For thousands of years, people around the world have treated the sick with whole forms or extracts of flowers, barks, herbs, and beneficial microbes. They were being used long before the scientific method came to fruition, but it's important to remember that among these remedies are the ones that gave way to some of today's most important pharmaceuticals. Really? Interesting. I'm not going to pronounce these correctly, just so you know, but I'm going to go through these. Cinchona bark to quinidine, and an anti-arrhythmic and anti-parasitic. Interesting. Have we heard of that one before in the last few months? Let's go through it. Cinchona bark thrives in the rainforests of Peru. Its derivative, quinine, was introduced in Europe in 1640 and was used for many years thereafter to treat malaria and other ailments. In 1912, a patient inadvertently discovered that quinine halted his arrhythmia. Six years later, Berlin's Walter von Frey wrote in a Viennese medical journal that quinidine, a stereoisomer of quinine, was more effective than any other cinchona alkaloid in controlling atrial arrhythmias. Look at that. Long before penicillin, homemade mold. Many of you know this story. Predating recorded medical history, molds were used to treat infections in Greece, Egypt, and India. In the 1600s, Poland, a concoction of wet bread and spider webs was used for the same purpose. A technique cited in Henry Sienkiewicz's 1884 book With Fire and Sword. Between 1870 and 1928, several different physicians noted that one particular mold, penicillium, could fight infection. But in 1928, Alexander Fleming realized that it was actually a byproduct of the mold that killed bacteria. A decade later, Ernst Chain and Howard Florey isolated and purified penicillin, the first true antibiotic. Interesting. All this stuff is based on nature. A floral remedy becomes a cardiac medication. For many years, herbalists used foxglove for a variety of ailments from edema to tuberculosis until it was finally identified as a viable treatment for congestive heart failure. Derivatives from the plant were made into prescription drugs, including digoxin, for atrial fibrillation and atrial flutter with rapid ventricular responses. So, digitalis purpurea extract was first described in English medical literature by William Withering in 1785 as a treatment for cardiac conditions. Amazing. Pacific yew tree leads to paclitaxel. There's some interesting names. Okay, Northwestern Native Americans used to crush the needles of the Pacific yew to make anti-inflammatory treatments. Medicine men had to take the great precautions because the tree was toxic and the seeds were lethal to humans. In the 1960s, scientists exploring potential natural sources for cancer treatment gathered the bark to test. Lab results showed significant cytotoxic activity. Paclitaxel was isolated as the U.S. Food and Drug Administration approved the drug for treatment of ovarian cancer in 1992. Soon after, it was approved to treat the advanced breast cancer and AIDS-related Kaposi sarcoma and other malignancies. Really? So why is it that we need to take this and turn it into medication when we could actually take the actual source and origin and use it the way it could actually supposed to be used to? It would take 360,000 trees to synthesize enough paclitaxel to treat all U.S. ovarian cancer and melanoma cases each year. So it needs a lot. But guess what? They have other ways. I know they do. Willow bark and meadowsweet, yesterday's aspirin. White willow originates from Europe and parts of China. It was traded to Egypt, Sumer, and Assyria. People chewed on the bark to mitigate swelling and lower fevers as far back as 400 BC. And successful treatment of malaria with white willow was documented in 1763. Meadowsweet was one of the most sacred herbs used by Celtic Druid priests for similar afflictions. Eventually, salicylic acid, a chemical derived from salicylin, was isolated from both white willow bark and meadowsweet and later served as the basis for aspirin. Somebody mentioned patents, and that is correct. The only reason they changed this stuff into medications is to create patents to make more money. Red yeast rice. Many of you probably know this one. The original statin, made by fermenting Monoscus purpureus, a yeast, and pouring it over red rice. Red yeast rice has been used for hundreds of years in China, both as a food and as a natural medicine for the cardiovascular system. Researchers learned that it contained a statin-like chemical as well as unsaturated fatty acids, phytosterols, and isoflavones. Although the process of discovery through FDA approval was not a linear or solitary one, it is clear that the Chinese understood how to treat the heart long before cholesterol had even been identified in human blood. I'm going to go through a few more. I hope you guys are okay with this. Myapple leads to lung cancer drug etoposide. The American mandrake or mayapple was used as a medicine by Native Americans and later studied by 19th century eclectics for its healing powers, particularly against warts. In 1835, Dr. John King identified its active resinous compounds, from which etoposide was the first synthesized in 1966. It received FDA approval in 1983 as a chemotherapy treatment for colon cancer as well as Kaposi sarcoma, testicular cancer, Ewing sarcoma, non-lymphocytic leukemia, lymphoma, and glioblastoma multiforme. So there you go, a cancer killer. How about that? Here's a good one. From quackery to lavazza. Cod liver oil has been long been revered in several cultures as a remedy for malnourishment and rickets to tuberculosis and a weak heart. In Manchester, England, during the 1770s, Dr. Samuel Kay, Thomas Percival, and Robert Darby documented its healing effects against muscle and joint problems. In the United States, cod liver oil was best known as a beneficial nutritional supplement rich in vitamins A, D, and omega-3 fatty acids. Discovering how protective omega-3s are against triglycerides, scientists isolated 900 milligrams of the ethyl esters from these fatty acids directly from fish oils, and in 2004, Lavazza became a prescription-only FDA-approved medication. Or you could just take cod liver oil, either way. Okay, I'm just going to flip through these ones pretty fast. There's a few more. Ephedra becomes ephedrine. Camphor is used to treat cholera. It's also used in vapor rubs. General anesthesia. They figured that out as well. And then the next generation of pharmaceuticals. In Chinese medicine alone, there may be 100,000 formulas, some more than 2,000 years old, any one which could lead to the next big cure. Here's an idea. How about we don't make it the next pharmaceutical? How about we actually just use these properly? Oh, that's right. Many of us do use these properly. That's right. I forgot about that. Yeah. People are using these properly every day. The problem is medicine likes patents. Medicine likes to make a lot of money off of you. I am way over time tonight. I didn't plan on going this long, but I love this stuff. It's exciting. So I will take a couple questions. If you would like help, healthcare help, etc., let me know. You can actually become a patient right here. My long distance patients are so amazing. We are having wins like you wouldn't believe. I have people dropping weight like crazy within a few weeks to a couple months. We have major stuff that people have been diagnosed with, like disappearing by getting the food right, getting the supplements right. It's absolutely amazing. If you have any healthcare related questions, you can also email us. But the best way to do it is get with us, get a consultation. We will help you right here, noblepatriothealth.com. I will be happy to help you. The time is now. You have to raise your healthcare consciousness of your mind for your life. Okay? Where do we start reading? I'm gonna put out a couple books people can read regarding healthcare. Okay. What's the youngest child I treated for parasites? 2 or 3 years old. That's the youngest. Let's see. Do I recommend a good herbal remedies book? I'll put some down because I'm all over the place on herbal remedies. I check a bunch of different places and I study whole food more than I study herbal, but I have some good herbal ones. I'll post them, okay? Should you be worried about a hard lump in the armpit? Well, you should be looking for what it is and finding out what it is. I actually just had a patient who came in who had a lump right here and it was parasitic and bacterial, actually. Yes. Weston A. Price is a great resource. How do you know if you have parasites? Good question. Over 90 to 95% of the U.S. has parasites. It's there. You just got to go find it. I can help you with that as well. What are my thoughts on alkaline water? I don't do anything with alkaline water. I prefer just good quality water. Spring water is actually better. I don't like alkaline water because it's actually not, the body's not designed to take it in all the time. Raw milk is great if you can get it. Make sure there's no grain fed in it, okay? What can we do for you, Kathy? Thank you for that question. I don't need anything. I am good. I am happy. As long as I can help you, this is what I like in life. Let me tell you. I'll tell you what Dr. Dean needs. I need to be able to help as many people as humanly possible. That's what my purpose is every single day. I like to be completely full in the office at all times, right? So I have pretty much a waiting list practice. I love helping people in a distance. I love helping people locally. I love helping people here. I have some children's products that are getting ready to go out probably within a couple days. You guys will be seeing it. I need to help save as many children as humanly possible. So when you see that blow up, let us help as many kids as possible out there. It's going to be under Patriot Nutrition. We are ready to rock and roll, and I'm going to save some kids. How best for me to help you? I'll help you in the office. I'll help you from a distance. Go to the website and allow me to help as many people out there through some protocols and through the kids stuff. Okay, thank you for that. Evian and Fiji water, pretty good. And then Mountain Valley spring water is one of the best. I'm going to have a water guy on soon. I just have to reach out to him. Is there mold in my house? Yeah, I have an older house. We're actually doing another mold check just to make sure. We were good a couple years ago, but we've had a couple storms come through and a hurricane. So we're going to check it again. But yeah, I appreciate that because I guarantee you some of the cough is probably a little bit of mold. And we have an older house. It's really cool. It's like a farmhouse type. And so we're going to be checking that as well. Yeah. Because, yeah, down here in Florida, there's mold everywhere. It's a good point. Where besides Florida is good to move to? I know of Texas and Nevada, but I know the Dakotas are supposedly very nice as well. Kelly, if your primary care physician ignored you when you asked to lose weight, that's not good. Give me a call. Come find me, okay? I have about a 4 to 6 week wait to get to me. I think it is right now. Yeah, Renee, but get on there because I'll get to you. Don't worry. Reverse osmosis. Reverse osmosis is better, but you got to put minerals back in. Okay, minerals have to go back in the water. You need minerals. Is Pelosi a parasite? Yes, she is. How do you get rid of her? Put her in a rocket ship and send her out into outer space. It won't come back. How about that? Okay. One more question. One more question. I'll answer one more question, and then I'm going to bed. How about that? Let's see here. Okay, one more. Macular degeneration. That's a good question. So I never say we're going to reverse it, but we always have. We've improved the quality of the eyesight. Okay, we've always improved eyesight. I actually did a big juicing cleanse a long time ago, and I did that along with my regular diet and supplementation, and my eyesight went back up. So absolutely, that can work. Good. All right. Amy, anybody in my office can help you. I have myself, my wife, who are pretty busy, and then we have 3 other practitioners that we can get you to as well, who all are trained at the same level. You will be well taken care of. So let me know if you need it. If you need to get in sooner than me or my wife, let us know and we will get you in. That's not a problem. Okay. Awesome. Guys, love you all. I hope this is of value to you tonight. I hope I am helping you. That is my sole purpose, is to get you better, get you helped, and save America, countries, and this planet, okay? Do me a favor. Go serve and help somebody tomorrow, this week, this weekend. I love all of you. Dr. Jason Dean, Revolution Network, signing off. Have a beautiful and wonderful night.